Hi everyone. I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you about our surface water lab this week. So surface water is one of those labs which in the fall or if the weather were warmer, we could actually go outside again. So I know you all haven't been out since the first week of class when I had you, or the second week of class when I had you do the ecosystem assessment. The surface water would have sort of been our next experience going outside, but due to the extremely cold weather that we had in February and also the extensive amount of snow, it's going to make it difficult to go out and look at your local body of water. I do want to say that if you are really adventurous, if you're feeling adventurous and you don't mind putting on your snow boots and bundling up and you want to go out and actually do an assessment of your local pond or river or lake or whatever it happens to be, I'm certainly not going to stop you, but I would caution you to just be really, really careful if you do go out. In absence of going out, so if you're one that says, nope, the cold and the snow isn't worth it, I'd rather not, that's okay. We're going to talk about an alternative and something else you can do to complete this part of the lab. So the part of the lab that we're looking at is our qualitative measure of pond or stream water quality. And so what this is this is basically what we call a qualitative assessment. And qualitative simply means that rather than measuring things in numbers and values, like taking the pH of the water or taking other chemical measurements that we might investigate, we're actually looking around to sort of see different categories of things, and we're going to assess how clean the water is, or how clean the water we think would be based on these other assessment criteria. So we are looking for things like litter, right? Litter around the edge of the pond, litter in the pond. Are there appliances being dumped? Are there a lot of storm sewer pipes that are flowing into an area? A lot of animal droppings? All of those things would indicate to us that we probably have not as good water quality, that the water would be in poorer condition, versus places where we don't see those things. So again, ideally I would have you all go out and look at this yourself at the pond or the lake or the body of water. But because of the weather, we're going to have to improvise. So what you can do instead is I would still like you to complete this assessment, but we're going to leverage some technology right now, and we're going to see if we can get a little bit of help. So I'm going to use Google Earth. You don't have to specifically use Google Earth. If there is another mapping service that you prefer, you're more than welcome to use it. I just use Google Earth because it's easily accessible and it has a lot of really great visual data that we can use. So what I would have you do is go to Google Earth and you can do a search. Go ahead and type in your address wherever you happen to be. So I'm going to type in, sorry about that, I'm going to type in Harper College. And there we are in Palatine, Illinois on Algonquin Road. And it's going to fly me here to Harper. All right, and so as we see all the details of the campus coming together, what I want to do is I want to focus on the bodies of water we have here at Harper. So if you're not familiar with them, there are several bodies of water on campus. So this is what we kind of refer to as Harper Lake. That's one body of water. And then on the other side, the south side of campus, we have the Plum Grove Reservoir. So here are sort of my two options as far as which of these bodies of water I'm going to assess. So let's start here with Harper Lake for just a minute. And what I want to do is I want to get in as close as I possibly can to get a nice visual of what it looks like. To help me do that, I'm going to use Street View. So if you've never done this before, Street View is this little person that's sort of sitting here in the corner down by the map. You can grab the person and click on it, and it will show you where you can drop the person off in order to be able to see sort of our street view. So there's a couple of different options here. Anything that is in blue is an area that has visual data, so that I can actually go down as if I'm standing on the street here, and I can look out and look over the pond. We also have point data, so sometimes you would have point data that is nearby. So let's try this point data first. You can see there's this little blue dot here. I'm going to drop my little Google View person here. Oh, and it just said no street data is available there. All right, well, let's try that again. It told me there was, and then it took it away. All right, so my other street data would be possible over here on the bridge. So let's just put my little Street View person there. Okay, and now it's going to get me right here to ground level. And now here at ground level, I have a view of Harper Lake here. So I can use the zoom in and zoom out buttons to kind of get a good view. And again, these are very detailed, clear pictures. So there's a lot of information that I can get from right here. So for example, using this vision view right here, I can tell that there is some sort of storm sewer pipe right here, right? So something that is leading here into Harper Lake. And if you go back to the assessment, that's one of the questions that are here are, how many storm sewer pipes are there? So I'm able to see at least one here with this view. Another question that's on here is floating algae. Do you see a lot of floating algae? I do see some. So you can see the green that's floating in the water right there. That's some floating algae. Let me see if I see any other sort of algal mats. You can kind of see them over here. Again, let's zoom in on this side of Harper Lake. And again, you can see a few more of those. So the green that's in the water, those are more algal mats. So I can go back to, again, the assessment here, and floating algae, that's one. So I could be able to assess that. Things that you'll be able to see, litter, appliances, storm sewer. I can't really see animal droppings, okay? Maybe you can on your body of water, but this one I can't. I probably won't be able to see fish or frog species. Can't smell the lake. We're not in person. We don't know what it smells like. But we can get a sense of floating algae, the bank vegetation, the slope. Is there erosion? You can kind of get a sense of the color of the water, probably not the clarity. So this isn't perfect by any means, using Google Earth instead of actually being in person to do this assessment, but this will work pretty well, to be honest with you. So again, you can use either a body of water that's close to you. If you would rather use Harper Lake or Plum Grove Reservoir, which is also part of Harper here, you're more than welcome to use those for your assessments as well. Either one of those would work. Just make sure whatever location you are choosing, you are able to use the street view on it, right? And the only way you'll know if there's street view is if you see these blue lines, okay? So if the blue lines are not present, then you're not going to be able to get up close enough to your body of water and see it. So if I'm moving over here to the reservoir, actually, interestingly enough, from this view on the reservoir, you can see all the algae floating in here, right? So we're at a little bit of a higher flight zoom, and we're actually getting a really good sense of the algal mats that happen to be all over the Plum Grove Reservoir here. So this is kind of a good view too, to be in street view, but then zoom out a little bit so you can get a little bit of a bigger picture here looking at the reservoir. But again, I can drop my little person right here, my street view person. And once again, it kind of pulls me in down right here to eye level now. Okay, and I can see again, you can see here also just looking at it from this view, you can see all those algal mats right here. Okay, they're floating here in our reservoir. Once again, you can kind of do those assessments like what we talked about. You can look for trash, you can look for appliances, you can look and see how far the vegetation extends down to the water. So again, a lot of things that you can tell using our Google Earth view. So it's not a perfect solution. I would much more like to actually have you all go out and do this assessment in person, but the weather's not cooperating, so we'll work with what we have this week. So that was all, just a quick little overview to give you some options on how to complete the first part of lab this week. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. Thanks, everybody.